What's up, guys? This is Corey T with my Hardcore Justice review. I started out with a great montage of old pictures of like Rhino and Tommy Dreamer and others in ECW who like each said a little something, and they all like basically expressed how much ECW changed their career and what ECW was about. And then to kind of drive the point home, Taz came out and he said more about ECW, and basically they said what I've been saying all along, that ECW was about their like putting their bodies on the line for the fans, that it was a family organization because everybody in that promotion were like family. They each had their hand in how to like run the company and what they wanted to do, and basically they put their heart and soul into ECW. And basically Taz said the same exact thing. And then he went over to the announce table and he and Mike Tenay did the announcing. Now I'm sorry, but they could have had Cyrus come in. They could have had anyone from ECW come in. Mike Tenay is a fantastic commentator. Don't get me wrong, but he is not ECW. Now I'm going to start talking about the matches. It was the FBI who started things out against Kid Cash and Simon Diamond and Johnny Swinger, and they had a 6-man tag. And honestly, I was impressed. These guys all put on like a couple pounds and a couple of wrinkles, but they all really put on a great fight. And I was just like blown away because the arena looked different, and like these guys performed perfect. I'm telling you, they truly knew how to put on a show. But anyway, and they had an extreme dance-off. That I thought was a little weird, but that's what ECW was about. Making you think, what the hell? And making you have a great time, even when it wasn't wrestling. So that was the first match. I'm not going to say, like, the winner or anything, because I don't want to spoil it. So, then Mike Tenay and Taz all said a little something. And one of the disappointments was that Jerry Lynn injured himself and wasn't able to come to the show. So the match was changed to RVD and Sabu. And then they had a backstage segment with Stevie Richards and Al Snow, which I thought Al Snow still has it. He still knows how to entertain with his head. And then Hollywood Nova came in, and he and Stevie had like a little segment where they talked. And Blue, I don't know what they called them, but a Blue Meanie look-alike came in because the Blue Meanie wasn't able to be there. And it was very entertaining, but it was very, honestly, I didn't even notice that he wasn't the Blue Meanie. But I wasn't a real fan of him, of the Blue Meanie, so. But I really enjoyed Stevie Richards and Al Snow's interactions. The next match was C.W. Anderson versus Too Cold Scorpio. And guys, this was the second match, and there weren't any weapons, so I was a bit surprised. But with Too Cold Scorpio, you can always expect him to go high. And he flew a lot during the match. He basically, like I said about the others in the 6-man tag, he showed that he may be up in age, but he still has it. And I just thought, like, this match even was incredible. Honestly, I did not see a match on the show that wasn't better than anything that WWE is currently producing. And that says something. Because these guys are all, 60s, 50s, 40s? So, say what you will. TNA also had wrestlers from their company, because I like to think of this as ECW, not TNA. But they had guys coming in saying what ECW meant to them, and it was just ways for the TNA talent to get on the show. That's the way I thought of it. And then they had a thing with Rob Van Dam and Bill Alfonso. Bill Alfonso is still nuts. A little older, but still Bill Alfonso. And they did a thing where he talked about how he's wrestling Sabu. So it was, like I said, it was entertaining. Then they had the Stevie Richards versus Justin Credible match. A match that I think was one of the greatest of the night. Because I am a huge, of all the ECW talent, Rob Van Dam, Sabu, Taz, Rhino, Raven, Stevie Richards, and Justin Credible, one of my top three. Them and Raven, my favorite ECW talent. And they put on an awesome match. I'm hoping Dixie watches this and thinks, you know, we should bring some of these guys in. Not just Raven and Rhino, Stevie, guys who were doing, like, in the audience, but really put on a good show. And finally we saw weapons. Justin Credible with a Singapore cane, and then out of nowhere, Drunken Sandman came in. And he cracked a Singapore cane over Justin Credible's head, and he was out like a light. And that was all Sandman did all night. Which, again, kind of just disappointed me. One thing I liked about the show is they couldn't look at it and be like, oh, that's just like the One Night Stand pay-per-view. Nothing about it was like ECW One Night Stand. It was just like its own show. And to be honest, I like this one more than I did One Night Stand. Big time. Then they had Francine, an ECW, I don't know what you call her, not a diva, not a knockout, but an ECW woman wrestler. And I was really impressed, or not really impressed, but kind of blown away. Because Francine has a 1-year-old kid, gotten up there in age, and she still looks amazing. Definitely. I was really hoping she'd be on the show, because I was hoping for, she has a Joey style puts it, catfight! But yeah, it would have been awesome. Unfortunately, there was no cat fights on the show. But, hey, if this one sells good, maybe we'll see another ECW pay-per-view. And, I think next was, they did this tribute to the ECW brethren who have passed away. And unfortunately, they couldn't show any pictures of them, but they did this 1-second thing where they wrote stuff about it, like, to all of our ECW brothers who aren't with us, you're still with us, blah, 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 blah. And, it was something, you know, it was something. Then they had a triple threat match. Al Snow versus Rhino versus Spike Dudley. And it was an awesome match. All three of these guys still got it. And I know I'm going to get people saying, oh, WWE rules, TNA rules, ECW sucks, blah, 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 blah. But it was an incredible show, and this match was even a very, very good match. And they started, I believe they used weapons, I'm not really sure, but they all performed fantastic. A little too short for my taste, but hey, it was a great fight. Then was the chair swinging freaks, Balls Mahoney, or as they call them, cojones. I hate copyright, I really do. Anyway, it was Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten against the Dudleys. And we finally saw the flaming table, which the fans all night, they were calling for it. They wanted it. The fans were incredible. They were true EC frickin' W fans. But this match, they had weapons, they had chairs, they had tables, they had fire. It was an insane match. And once that was over, it was very obvious that this was going to happen when Bubba Rice said, he picked up the mic and said, "We're the greatest tag team today." AKA, someone's going to come out and doubt us and fight us. So what happens? We get New Jack and Mustafa Saeed something. And they're the gangsters, if you don't know. They came out with a whole bunch of weapons. They had a I don't know what they call it, a unplanned hardcore match, or ECW Extreme, I don't know what you call it. In ECW, I guess it's just a match. And they had weapons, and they even had a lightsaber battle. Yes, you heard me right, Star Wars fans. They had lightsabers in ECW wrestling. But again, it was a freaking amazing fight, and I honestly, like I said, I hope it's not the last I see of him. Then Raven did a promo, and I don't care what anyone says. Raven is one of the best on the mic. He's one of the best talkers in wrestling. He definitely is not past his prime. He's still an awesome wrestler. That's when they had him against Tommy Dreamer. And it was brutal. Their match was bloody. They had barbed wire, and it was just, wow. And Raven really performed well. Tommy Dreamer, obviously he performed well. He hasn't been not wrestling that long. But Raven, we haven't seen him really wrestling in a couple years. Besides on Impact this past week. But it was awesome. Definitely hope that we see more of Raven in TNA. Which we probably won't because Hogan's in charge, but hey, the guy can hope. And then the final match. It was what was it? I'm sorry. Oh, duh. Rob Van Dam versus the suicidal, homicidal, genocidal Sabu. Again, it was an extreme match. They put their all into this match. But let's face it, RVD is TNA World Heavyweight Champion. There was no doubt that he was going to lose this match. But either way, it was awesome. Both the guys put their all into it. Tommy Dreamer put on an awesome show. And all in all, if I had to rate this 1 to 10, this whole show was definitely 8. 8 out of 10. They could have did, like I said, without Mike Tenay as one of the commentators. But Joey Styles is off in WWE prison, so he couldn't do it. If they had women, if they had a cat fight, because ECW is known for their extreme cat fights. But again, without Joey Styles with his announcing cat fight, it wouldn't have been the same. So basically, for what they, had to work with, it was awesome. I think more of the guys who decided not to be on the show made a big mistake, because it was well put on, no Hogan, and for those of you who think differently, I'm going to say exactly what Bubba Ray said. Go to hell. Because this show is exactly what ECW was about. Guys who wanted to do one last time, to pay tribute to the fans, to say thank you to the fans, to say goodbye to the fans, and put on one hell of a fight. Put on a show that you won't forget. And you know what? They did just that. And if you think otherwise, I can't argue. You know what? I'm not going to argue with you, but I don't know what you've been watching. ECW, now and forever, one of the top promotions out there. If only they had more money, they'd still be here today. But thank you, Tommy Dreamer. Thank you, Dixie Carter, for giving us one last ECW reunion. Paul Heyman, you should have been there, buddy.